I've had a request to show some of the modifications I've done to this Heng tugboat. Those of you who have one would see the changes straight away. I've removed the lifeboat and the crane because they're a little bit out of scale, I think, and they looked too much like plastic toys. Um, I'll change it to a more to scale lifeboat and crane at a later date. Um, I've also made my own custom mast just to make it a little bit more realistic, as the one that it came with was also a little bit overboard. I think didn't look realistic. I've also made it removable so when I transport it I don't break it. I've also didn't use the tires that it came with for the cushioning, because again I think they were just way too big for the ship's scale. I've got some more to scale tyres. I'll plan to put them on someday. I've painted it this colour because I like the colour scheme myself, but it also the colours you'd probably most likely see in Australia, whereas obviously that's where I'm from. I put some brass eyelets in the windows rather than having just some black stickers. And now I'll open it up and I'll show you what's inside. Okay, I've removed the screws. I thought I'd point out just underneath this rubber bit there's two screws that you need to get to that are hiding under there. There's a screw in this front of the battery compartment lid. It's got twist locks on it, so it's nice and easy to remove. I don't put the screw back in it because the twist locks can just holds that, no worries. You have to remove the smokestacks on both sides with just a single screw in the side. You can remove that, and there's a screw hiding underneath there on each side. Now underneath is a bit of a wiring nightmare, but I've put in a fly sky 3-channel receiver, put in some LED lights inside there as well, and I turn that on with a 3rd channel on the controller. You can use the probably get away with using the radio gear that it comes with, but I just prefer something I know that I can rely on it. So I'd rather stick with something I know. So we'll take the top off. I bought a donor boat, a brushless remote control speedboat from eBay. It's I believe it's a Vitality brand, and the model number's there, FT012. I bought that for the to use the brushless motor and use the motor mount for it, and the speed controller and anything else I could use off it. But unfortunately the speed controller was built into the receiver, so I had to get my own speed controller, water cooled. The motor, I'm not sure what size it is. It's a small one, and it's brushless, of course, and it's got a fair bit of power. I actually have to turn the speed down on the controller, because if you go full throttle on this, it's just crazy. The motor mount that it came with for the motor It's got the water cooling, and I was able to screw that in to the original screw holes in the hull, so I got lucky there. I've just used some kind of, I don't know what sort of glue, I can't remember the glue, but it goes hard, and yeah, just made sure that there's no movement in there. I was able to use the couplings. It's got a little dog bone shaft inside there, so the angle meets up right. That was also in the remote control boat I bought off eBay. At the back here, I just used a mini servo, and yeah, that again, that screws straight in to the screws that were on the hull, so again, lucky there. I had to cut away this front of the circle, and I'll put in this little brass eyelet, so yeah, it's a nice and smooth operation. For the rudder, you can see some hot glue down in here and also in there. I've put in some lead pellets, tiny little lead pellets, just for some ballast, because the original boat, the way it comes, it just rolls too easily and it leans right over, so adding that ballast has made it nice and stable, and as long as you're not going over speed, it turns reasonably flat and sits perfectly in the water line with the amount of ballast I've put in it, and also with the weight in it, it sort of pushes itself through the little waves rather than bobbing over the waves. Inside where I've put the ballast was a well that actually collected water for the little squirter that came with the tugboat, but I don't use that. I'd rather put the ballast in there. I have no use for the squirter anyway. So yeah, of course I made sure I sealed all of that up before putting in the ballast. Underneath the speed controller, I have, it's hard to see, I've put in a water pump to pump all of the water through. I've had to put a voltage dropper in there because I use a 3S LiPo battery, and that's just too much voltage for the pump. I had to put the pump in because just the boat moving on its own wasn't enough to push the water through, but there's no problems there. It's it runs without drawing really much current at all, so it doesn't really have effect on the battery life. I use a Dean's plug. Comes with a Dean's plug, the speed controller. Yeah, I bought the hardware for the outlet of the water, and it spits out the side and underneath. I don't know if you can see that little brass nipple there that collects the water. Yeah, okay, I use a 3S battery in it, 2200 milliamp. That fits inside the original battery holder, which is once again handy. Can also run on a 2S if you want. I just use the 3S for the torque and that bit of extra power. Yeah, so that's about it. I hope this video helps you out a little bit, or gives you some ideas. Don't mind sharing what I do. I'm no professional, that's for sure, but it gets the job done. And you can see on the video, I'll leave a link there somewhere, that it runs pretty well, and it runs nicely. Alright, so happy boating, and get out there and have some fun.